You ever heard of the Prime Meridian? I hadn't either until about 3 days ago. I've heard of Greenwich Mean Time and the line of longitude where it starts, where the zero is. Anyway, cut to the chase. We are just approaching it right now. We are about 2 miles away from time zero, Greenwich Mean Time, UTC. They call it UTC now. I always used to call it GMT, Greenwich Mean Time. Anyway, UTC is in 2 miles and 300 meters. Very exciting. Ivan's just dishing it up a storm. Rachel's looking exceedingly excited.
This is calm before the storm. I'm just going to go ballistic once we
cross one shot. On that meridian, Prime Meridian. 0.9 of a mile to go. Counting it down, man.
5, 4, 3, 2, 1.
Happy New Year! Yeah. We have just crossed Greenwich Mean Time.
Wow.
Yeah.
Greenwich Mean Time. We are right in line with London right now. The boys have stood in Greenwich Park in London on either side of the Meridian line, just outside the observatory. Yeah, that's where time began. That's where they learned about longitude.
That's where time began. There was no time, nothing.
Well, there was no time is a construct, is it not? But that's where longitude began. That's when they learned how to map longitude out. And so there's a line, imaginary line, going from the North Pole to the South Pole, through Greenwich, through us right now.
Just behind us.
Just behind us, we crossed it.
Yeah.
We didn't see it. We all leapt over it. But
cool, eh?
yeah, that's cool.
I'm pretty chuffed about it. Another little
That's
milestone.
another feather in our cap.
The last big milestone was Cape of Good Hope, and this is the next one.
Yeah. One moment, please.
We need to make a sacrifice to Neptune. We do have a...
Declan!
We thank you for safe passage across the Prime Meridian, Greenwich Mean
And
Time,
onwards.
and onwards forever. Amen.
When we crossed the equator, we couldn't get Ivan to drink at all. Now he's throwing it back.
Oh, that's true. Remember the champagne.
Drink it, Ivan. You have to.
No, I don't.
For Neptune.
You have to. Otherwise, next time you get in the water, Neptune will rip out your innards.
The celebration is over.
Oh, you have ruined the party.
True.
Oh my god.
Oh, it's smooth. There's still 5 times.
Just still 5 times.
That tastes like paint stripper.
Oh, yeah.
Oh, sorry.
You go, Declan.
Heavy pour.
That's a big pour too.
Steady pour. Steady hand.
Oh. Only a little bit of dribble. Oh.
And now one for Mocha.
Oh. I lost a lot of that. And onwards.
Yeah.
Cheerio.
It just gets better, better with you. We go together. Stick a little bit, Johnny. We'll do whatever, do what we do. And it just gets better, better with you. We'll go on forever, birds of a feather. It's getting better.
Welcome back aboard. You're joining us mid-Atlantic, deep into our ocean crossing en route to one of the world's most remote inhabited islands, St Helena. So far, this leg has been a bit of everything. We've sailed fast.
Yeah, it's been a lovely day sail, man. One of the better sails I think we've had. Between 6 and 9, sometimes 10 knots. Consistently, all day long.
Crawled along at a snail's pace.
Bit frustrating. The wind was at 90 degrees, but it swung around to the stern. We've got 3 knots of breeze. We're doing 1 knot of speed. 0.9. The main's flopping around, the genoa's flopping around. I've tried to wing the genoa. You know what? I'm gonna 0.7 of a knot. I think I might start the engine.
Dodge cargo ships.
Like, it looks like he's going bullseye directly for us, and he is, except that by the time he gets to where we are, we'll be sort of moved over a little bit, so we're not getting any alarms. MSC Express 3, MSC Express 3 cruising Kiwis. Are you aware of us in front of you there? Should be okay. You don't need to change course, but just checking you have us on your AIS. Over.
Yeah, so yeah, we see you pass clear, and thank you for alerting. Okay.
Ah, great. Good to hear from you. Where are you heading?
To New York, from South Africa.
Wow.
Well, that's very exotic. We've just left Walvis Bay heading for St Helena.
Wow, yeah, reached pretty far.
Had not one but two unexpected visitors on board, a flying squid and a garfish, both swiftly claimed by our cat Mocha.
Yum, yum.
We've also just crossed the Prime Meridian, that invisible line slicing the globe between east and west. Crossing it at sea feels like an epic moment, especially out here surrounded by nothing but rolling blue.
So I just came out to investigate Rob and Declan reading, and I was alerted to a boat, you can't see it really now, just disappearing over the horizon. So I looked up to see what its name was, because it actually looked really huge. Seacon Africa, 300 metres long, or 299 I think it said. But that wasn't the only boat that was out there. I was surprised by the name of another boat that's just ahead of us, which we can't see because it's too far ahead, but it's called Celsius Middelfart. What a name, Celsius Middelfart. And then Rob piped up that he's been to Middelfart. And I said, you've been there several times on this journey alone. Middelfart is in Denmark, and it even made it into Rob's book, The Naked Rower.
Which I happen to have a copy of here. Who would have thought?
Never, always keep one close.
You never know when someone might want a copy. Available at all good bookshops, and in fact, it turns out there's not a single good bookshop in the world. Look, this is a cure for insomnia. Here you go.
Sit back, relax. Rob is going to read to us from the good book, The Naked Rower.
We flew out mid-September 1997, less than 4 weeks to the race start. Seasickness was still a formidable opponent. Some expert seasickers reckon there are two stages that you pass through. The first one is when you think you're going to die. The second is when you fear that you won't. I haven't felt like that. I felt bloody uncomfortable, and I couldn't row very well when I was being sick. So Phil suggested a last throw of the dice. Eric Brazil, a German millionaire, wished to immigrate to Tasmania. Rather than just fly, he wanted to sail his own boat to Tassie. Not your normal everyday migrant was Eric. But he needed crew. Dave and Sonia Stubbs, Phil's father and stepmother, Phil being Phil Stubbs, my teammate, Phil and Muggins here were Eric's crew. The not too subtle plan was to cross the North Sea in autumn from Denmark to Scotland, a rough stretch of water at any time, so that I could try and gain my sea legs, or at least attempt to find a cure for my motion sickness. I will say, I haven't been sick on this boat from seasickness once, not at all.
Keep it moving.
Keep it moving. So we four turned up in Denmark and boarded the magnificent ketch Holger Dansk in Svendborg, Denmark. For several days we travelled between the Danish islands and the Baltic Sea, getting the feel of Holger Dansk and her sails before coming into port in Middelfart. I kid you not. Middelfart is a quaint fishing village squeezed between the islands of Fyn and Jutland, the mainland. And that is Middelfart. I was astounded, as much as I'm sure you are. It's the evening of the 8th day on our journey to St Helena. Full moon, beautiful evening sailing. It's 4:30 in the morning, and it's hard to believe that in October this year it will be 28 years since Phil Stubbs and myself rode out of Los Gigantes, Tenerife and the Canary Islands, bound for Barbados in the West Indies. Back in this ocean again. It's crazy to think about it, that in these docile conditions, beautiful conditions, like 10 knots, 10-12 knot breeze, we're doing sort of 4 or 5 knots. Phil and I would be doing 1 to 2 knots, rowing our hearts out. But it would be a beautiful night for rowing. Beautiful night for rowing. You know, it's kind of funny, this evening we pulled out a game called Tenets. It's a game that no one else in the world possibly, or very few people in the world will know about, because it was created by a guy we met in Neisner, Mark Sherrington. And basically it's a whole series of cards that you choose which best represents kind of what you feel. You get 5 cards each, but you can pick and choose, and then each person puts them down and talks about them. And the winner kind of is the person whose cards get selected most out of everyone else. It was really great. It stimulated a lot of discussion about different aspects of all sorts of things that these quotes bring out. Highly entertaining. And one of the cards came up was this one. Don't sail out further than you can row back. Isn't that so appropriate? That, well, you know, I could argue that we could sail out as far as we want to. In theory, I could row us back. Actually, that's not really the case. I couldn't row this heavy old tub back to shore, but it's kind of a very, very prophetic, I thought, card to pull up in the context of this passage across to St Helena. Gosh, I can't begin to tell you the sheer exhaustion we felt in some of those sessions. We did 2 hours on and 2 hours off, round the clock, non-stop. So one person would row and the other would rest, turn and turn about, non-stop, 24 hours. Afternoon, evening, when the temperature was dropping, the sun was setting, it's beautiful serenity, and often, you know, lovely evenings. Not all the time, but you gave you more energy, you felt better, and then the slog overnight, my goodness, getting up at 2 in the morning for your next 2-hour shift, or having just gone to sleep 2 hours prior. It was horrible. It was horrible. And I just how we did it, I can't sort of, man, far out. But it was good. And Phil was an amazing teammate. He was hard ass. We were hard on each other. You know, during a changeovers, we wouldn't let the person rowing stop rowing until, you know, I wouldn't let Phil stop rowing until I'd got in position and started rowing with him. And then he had the option to drop out, or he could continue rowing for another minute or 5 minutes. But that was eating into his recovery for the next session, and so on and so forth. And I think back to it now, it was torrid. It was far out. But it was such a great adventure, such a great challenge. In a lot of other ways that you don't really realise either. Getting to the start line was almost as hard as the race itself. So it challenged us in all sorts of various and different ways. So, you know, if you have a dream, if you have a thing you kind of want to have a go at, learn about what it takes to do it, upskill yourself if you need to, and get out and do it. And you learn along the way, make many mistakes, I can assure you. Certainly that's been the case with us in the sailboat. And it continues. The learning never ends.